Hey everybody, welcome back. Bradley here. I was out of town this weekend for a race and I had an opportunity to take the airbrush apart and tear it down and let it soak overnight. So I thought I'd kind of show you what the results were when you take it apart and disassemble it and let it soak overnight. So I typically try to keep a pretty clean gun when I'm coming down painting, so every time you go to pick it back up, it's good to start out with. This is the results of actually having it cleaned and letting it soak overnight. You can see it's pretty much spotless, minus the chrome plating that's wore off the inside of it. But this is typically how I'd like to start out pretty much every time with a gun. That way you know you don't have paint sitting at the bottom of the cup that's been there and getting stuck on. So if you keep it this clean all the time, you should have no issues picking up and starting out painting when you come down for the day. So thought I'd show you the jar. What I use is the Createx Restorer to let the parts soak in overnight. And what I do is I disassemble the whole gun and I take the head assembly, the plunger, the spring, everything else that's part of the gun, and I just throw it in this jar and I let it sit overnight. So they do make ultrasonic cleaners and stuff that's out there that you can put it in, which will help agitate it and loosen it up as well. But this is just from soaking it overnight. And like I said, I try to keep a pretty clean gun when I'm spraying, but you can kind of see it's surprisingly how much you'll still pull out of the whole head assembly in the plunger and everywhere else that's on the gun. So it's kind of cool seeing it sit in the bottom of a jar. Like I said, you don't think that there's much paint still stuck in there, and I try to keep a pretty clean gun, so it doesn't hurt to do this every now and then. I usually kind of go roughly a month or so, just maybe a little over a month before I tear it apart and disassemble it and soak it. If I'm going somewhere and I'm not going to be painting for a couple of days, I'll take it out and I can let it sit in there also. So thought it'd be kind of cool to show you what was left into it. What I'll do now is I'll take this jar and I'll actually let the sediment settle overnight on it, so it'll all be on the very bottom, and then I'll take and I'll pour the top portion of this out into a different jar and I'll reuse it. There's no sense in dumping this whole thing out every time when basically you're just cleaning all the paint that's on your gun. So it's not that you're spraying it or anything. So, and then I'll take a paper towel and I'll wipe the paint sediment out of the bottom of the jar, and that way I can reuse this multiple times. So you can get yourself a bottle of it. I think they come in an 8-ounce bottle, and it'll last you a year easily. But just kind of showing the importance of tearing apart and cleaning it. Even though you think that you have a clean gun, there's stuff hiding in places, and we're spraying at such a fine area that it doesn't take much of this to plug the gun up. And especially if you let it go time and time again and you don't clean it as often, there's a lot more stuff hanging around inside of your gun than what you actually think's there. So try to clean them out. What I do too is when you do soak it, don't throw it in there and let it sit for multiple days or weeks on end. I usually try to let it sit overnight, and then I'll take and I'll rebuild the gun and put it back together. I don't let the parts sit in this for long periods of time. I've never done it. I'm not sure if it's actually good for the chrome plating that's on it. Obviously, I've worn the chrome plating on the inside of mine from probably just use of it, but it's good to clean it, keep your gun clean, and you'll be good to go. So, got any questions on this? I'll put the Createx Restorer in the description of this so you guys can look it up, buy yourself a bottle of it. Stuff works incredible. So hopefully it'll help you out. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.